Welcome back, everybody. During the holidays, we spend a lot of time with the extended family, and it's occasionally difficult to make it all go smoothly. So today we get expert tips on accepting everybody's point of view and getting along. Therapist Claudia Alabiso joins me now. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I think that's part of the stress of the holidays, right? Maybe just spending a lot of time with people you're not normally around as much, or lots of kids, lots of people.
Yes.
And it's just a little difficult. But we also have the problem of just how to manage ourselves in a hotly contested political environment and lots of other cultural issues that can be landmines between people. What is your overall approach to that?
Well, in general, the holidays really amplify everything. It's a very concentrated environment, and it can be an opportunity to have conversations you normally wouldn't have, and opinions are always going to come up. And ideally, it's a chance to exchange ideas, to be peaceful, and to learn from one another, but rarely it goes that well. And so I really recommend trying to take as much of a listening role as possible. When things get heated, like just to really step back and listen, learn, but try not to get too into it. And recognize opinions are just that. They're just opinions. And, you know.
So you don't necessarily have to respond in kind or say anything about it at all. You can listen and nod and move on to the next thing.
Absolutely.
I like that suggestion. There are also blended families, new in-laws, new people coming together. What are some of your best tips for kind of making other people comfortable and making sure they feel included and just kind of lending a good atmosphere?
Yeah, I think sometimes we can get really kind of attached to our own traditions, and it's good to actually include other people's traditions, blend things a little bit.
Right.
Maybe ask someone to bring a dish that they like to make, or an activity that they usually do, or maybe, you know, just ask them about what their experiences were like, so that it's not just all about one family, and that you can really blend traditions as much as possible.
That's a good idea. And having somebody bring a dish that they're familiar with and that they really like is automatic comfort in the meal. So getting along with people of differing views, you know, let's use the stereotypical your Uncle Bill who comes to the party and maybe is trying to pick a fight a little bit with people. What's the best approach?
Well, I think, like, again, just listening to them, but also really trying not to take things too personally. And if you are going to share your opinions, not trying to change anybody, that it's just about that, it's just about changing. And that if it's really off color or really something that's very critical or hard to take in, that sometimes it's okay to just kind of take a break from the conversation, or to kind of veer it toward another topic.
Is it ever appropriate to say, you know, let's not talk about this?
Yeah, for sure. I think sometimes you just have to agree to disagree for the sake of just keeping it peaceful within the family, because after all, it's really about the togetherness and the family and the kids, and so you want to keep things
you definitely want it to be about that. And if you're at the dinner table, maybe you can't remove yourself from the conversation. So if it's at your home, for example, is there a way to steer conversation or begin, you know, asking about everybody's favorite Christmas movie or something that kind of gets us off to a good start?
Yeah, I would really recommend, yes, asking about people's own traditions, past memories from good holidays that they've had, and then maybe some neutral topic like what they'd like to do in the future, a vacation they've had, good movies, good TV, that kind of thing. Just really neutral topics that people are interested in, that can actually share something personal about themselves, so they don't feel like they're kind of giving up the stage. So it still feels personal, connected, and
they can participate.
Yeah.
Active listening is a term we hear a lot, and you just mentioned listening to people, and there are different ways to listen that actually seem sincere, and others that, you know, feel like, okay, that person's just impatient for me to stop so they can say something. Talk to me a little bit about a good kind of listening to do.
Yeah, I think part of it is to listen for the sake of learning versus listen for the sake of responding, and to really show interest in something that somebody else is interested in, so that you can learn about them as a person versus their opinions. So things that they like to do, things they like to read, they've really listened to maybe a past experience they've had recently or memories from this past year. That way you're really kind of learning about them personally.
That makes sense. If you know somebody's going through a tough time or they've experienced a loss during the year, that kind of thing, what are your suggestions for acknowledging that and making yourself available to them?
I think that really understanding that Christmas is a time of sort of like wrapping up the year, and so just allowing there to be time for either prayer, nice thoughts toward things that have happened throughout the year, and also kind of just showing support and showing that you're present for them without having to fix anything. Sometimes we can get into sort of sharing what we think that they should be doing, and it's really just about being present and also adding some closure to the year. You know, recognizing it's the end of the year, it's a time for new beginnings, it's a time kind of marked every single year. So I think it could could be a really nice kind of tying things up for people.
And if you find yourself feeling snowed under and anxious, what's your approach to that just internally?
Internally, breathing is always a good idea. And nice big
Slow it
belly
down,
breaths.
big deep breaths. And
also taking breaks. I find that kind of if you're going to be in a family atmosphere, it's nice to sort of plan walks or plan, I don't know, a volunteer trip to the grocery store or taking the kids out to the park. Anything that kind of allows you to be separate for a moment and then returning. And not just doing that when you're stressed out, kind of preemptively doing it, planning it into the day's activities can be really
that's great. A good idea. Don't wait till you're desperate and then run out in the backyard, but you know that you're probably going to need. You mentioned also the word amplify, that it's not unusual that whatever it is that's going on in your life will feel amplified, good or bad, at a time like this. And maybe knowing ahead of time that that's likely to happen can be a little bit of a buffer?
Yes, for sure. Recognizing that amplification, the concentration is really a factor. And it's good to really manage your expectations as a result. So if you know that in the past things have been heightened or there's been some drama, don't expect to go into this holiday thinking it's going to be just great and just everyone's going to connect and have a great time.
Try to be prepared.
It's going to be a miracle. Yeah, be prepared, manage your expectations, and usually that's a lower thing.
Good luck, everybody. We know it'll be fun out there. We'll be right back. Thank you.